Start off with the treasurer's report.
Oh,
Well,
we don't have any money.
all right. Well, that's
Back in May we had $98.35. Over the summer we had $32 of bank fees. I'm thinking about changing banks.
I would too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I called them and I wanted to. They're charging us for a printed report, you know, and monthly, whatever it is.
If you're over 65, they're not supposed to do that.
Well, you know what they told me? Because we're incorporated, right? And they don't do
They don't, yeah, okay.
for businesses or incorporations. So we had over the summer we had $32 of bank fees. It leaves us with $66.35.
so $32 in fees for $98 in the bank.
That's crazy.
Pretty good.
How do you think they
I
make
think we
so
should
much?
have a piggy bank.
You know, banks are always in good shape. They very seldom ever go bankrupt.
Yeah, what was that piggy bank?
I think we should have a piggy
That's
bank. You just
probably
put the money
not a
in
bad
there,
idea.
and when you want to spend it, you take it out.
Oh, yeah, we could do that too, but then somebody.
Because it's not like not like there's any interest coming in on
No.
$98. All right. Next on the list is police and fire. I say we go with the fire first in case he needs to go someplace.
Hope not.
Any objections, officer? Sergeant?
Hope not.
Deputy, go right ahead.
Thanks, Jay. Good evening. Thank you for having me this evening. Chief wasn't able to be here this evening, so you're stuck with me. He wanted me to give you his well wishes and update you on some recent developments within the department. Good news to report to you, we have 3 new fire trucks, two pumper trucks and 1 ladder truck. The newest one is engine 9 at Bailey Street. The second one is engine 5 at the central station, and the third one is also at the central station, ladder 5. I have pictures to pass around. Beautiful trucks, state of the art. I mean, they're going to serve the city well for at least like the next 20 years. Because whenever we buy something, I mean, these are very expensive pieces of apparatus, but we get our money worth out of them.
The way you maintain them, they last forever.
Well,
They
you know,
last forever.
Wow.
we get at least
Nice.
minimum 20 to 25 years out of them. We really do get a lot of years out of them. I mean, you think about your own vehicle, you gotta get 10, 15.
Oh, get that?
Yeah.
And our mechanic does a nice job keeping things in good repair and saving money. We don't wait for things to break down. The second item, we have 4 new hires that pretty much filled up all our vacancies. And they're going to be starting at the Fire Academy in Stowe in December. Right now, they're currently assigned to fire alarm dispatch on Bardwell Street. Our last 3 firefighters that were hired, they did graduate on August 18th from the Fire Academy, and they're assigned to trucks now, so they're working. And we really have been lucky lately. We seem to have gotten some really good guys, and everybody's happy with them. And so we just have to, get them acclimated to our way of doing things, because they learn certain things at the academy. It's all good training, but it's not specific to our department. So, but we're pretty pleased with them.
Nice blue sky.
The chief wants you to know that he has big hopes for this year's capital improvement program. We have a request in for new dispatch software, new radios for our communications. They want to refinish the central station apparatus floor. If you've been in there lately, you see it's station's now 50 years old. It's actually our newest station. It's 50 years old, and the flooring has been shored up. And now this would be to recoat the top layer of the concrete that's in disrepair. So the other thing is We're gonna be getting a new truck for the fire alarm electricians, one of the trucks with a boom on it, and a new command car. So that's pretty good capital improvement for a year, to keep things moving forward. And the chief wanted me to invite all of you to Fire Prevention Week. We host a fire prevention program, and this year it's going to be on Saturday, October 14th. So come on down and have a burger, have a hot dog, get to come down and meet the guys and the women of the Lawrence Fire Department. You're all welcome.
Where's go be held?
Right at the Central Fire Station, October 14th. Fire Prevention Week is always the second weekend. That's second week in October. So we do something. We get pizza for the kids, and we put them up in the bucket of the truck, and they have a good time.
What time frame?
Generally, it would start at 11. It goes from about 11 to 2. 11 to 2. So you don't have to be there right at 11. And we'll have for the younger kids, and even for the kids at heart, we're going to have the fire prevention trailer, where we do, it's like a smoke trailer when we simulate smoke. We teach the kids to get down low in a fire. We teach them fire safety in the kitchen, smoke detectors, and it's a real hands-on thing for the kids, rather than learning out of a book. Kids respond very, very well to it, and if the kids aren't having fun, they're not going to really pay attention. So they have fun. And as far as anything of consequence, we have fires that the fires that you don't really read about in the paper. When it's a one-room fire or no one's really been displaced, you really don't hear about it. In the last couple of weeks, we had a fire on Bailey Street, and actually a fire of consequence on Fairmont Street. It came in around 4 o'clock in the morning. It's not a total loss, but everybody from that house, I believe there's 10 people displaced. 5 from the first floor, 5 from the second, and the Red Cross is helping them out. And we know housing is very short supply right now in the city of Lawrence. And, that's about it. The chief wanted me to convey to you. Any questions?
Was there a car on Wesley Street and Man Street on fire?
On Wesley? I don't know. Not while I was working, but that, I'm just one of 4 deputy chiefs, so I only get to see like
Because
one.
someone said it was a stolen car and they lit it up.
That, generally speaking, when you have a car fire, and unless it's underneath the hood of the car, it's generally somebody lit it, someone was with bad intention, and very often they are stolen. We don't have quite that problem that we did years ago. It's really gone to a minimum, and we have a policy that every single fire, no matter what how small it, has to be investigated. Cause and origin has to be determined, and if somebody's burning a car, we ask them questions, and they fill out a form, and very often we can find out how it happened, or sometimes the insurance company will deny their claim if they think it's suspicious.
They said it was actually totaled.
Yeah, oh yeah, usually, you'd be surprised, it doesn't take a lot to total a car. Especially the whole interior, all the wiring is burnt out, it's pretty much gone at that point. But that specific one, I really don't know. Anybody else questions?
How's the water situation with hydrants this year?
Actually, it's much improved. The city has a 3-phase program to reline. They're not actually replacing most of the mains, they're relining them. What you have, many of these mains are 100+ years old, and what happens over time is the water line, it actually tuberculates, where you get, the line gets clogged up like an artery. And unless you flow these hydrants to get a flow test on them, it's enough to satisfy the domestic needs of the neighborhood, but you don't know that you don't have adequate fire. We call it fire flow until you have a fire. And so what they did is they have an instrument that relines these pipes, and they reline them with concrete, and they won't tuberculate over time. And it's a much more economical option than digging up and replacing mains. And I can only say, from my point of view, I've noticed a difference. We still have areas, we've completed phase 1 of the 3. There's still room for improvement, but I think what they've done so far has been very good. And the fire department is pleased for the upgrade. Anybody else?
Police?
Good evening, everyone. Nice to be back. I hope you all had a good summer. I'll start out with the crime statistics for August 2017. Homicides, there was 0. Citywide, there was 0. Robberies, you had 0. Citywide, there was 10. Non-domestic assaults, there was 1. Citywide, there was 14. Residential burgs, there was 3. Citywide, there was 15. Commercial burgs, there was 0. Citywide, there was 2. Larcenies over 250, there was 3. Citywide, there was 25. And motor vehicle thefts, there was 2. Citywide, there was 29. The 29 number is a very good number. It's the lowest that we've seen probably in the last 15 years. So that's been that's been a struggle for us over the years. We have seen it a rise and a fall in it, but we have gradually over the last few months been targeting a lot of these individuals that are responsible for the motor vehicle thefts, and we've had some great success with that. So that's really a good number. Any questions on any of the stats that I read before I get to a few things the chief wants to mention? No? Okay. So along the lines of the capital improvement, we're lucky enough to receive $1 million in the capital improvement budget, thanks to the mayor's office and city council and the state delegation. We're going to use that $1 million to upgrade the radio system, which is in dire need of improvement. It hasn't been redone since, I believe, 1985, and it's really in disrepair. A lot of times over the last couple of years, we've lost communication with officers from the station to the dispatch cars, so we've had to bring them back in and either go by cell phone or by alternative radios, which is very dangerous for the officers and obviously for the public. So that's a much needed upgrade that we're going to get with the capital improvement money. I think there's also some money in there for 4 or 5 new vehicles, which we're also going to purchase, so we're thankful for that. Since we last were here, we got 6 new police officers out on the street. They'll be finishing up their FTO program in the next 6 weeks, which is nice. That gives an additional 6 officers. Right now, those officers are training on early nights in the day shift, those 3 guys. We also have an additional 10 officers in the police academy. 2 are in Lowell, and 8 are at Haverhill, which just started about 2 weeks ago. So, again, that's going to really boost our numbers and get us back to what we were doing before, adding some guys to community policing and other areas that need improvement, and also really filling the shifts with the officers so we have more guys on the street. Any questions, concerns, anything I've talked about?
Just one question, just out of curiosity, what advantages does a radio offer that a cell phone doesn't offer?
Well, cell phone, you have to dial the telephone and get the connection.
Okay.
With the radio, you have constant flow of connection back and forth
Okay.
for the officers.
Okay.
So it's just a little safer. Obviously, when you're out in the street, it'd be harder to dial a cell phone call in, where you can just flick your switch.
Do you lose reception with the radios in any location of the city? Do you lose? Or is it more effective than the cell phone in that sense?
They've upgraded a couple repeaters throughout the city right now, but it's more the communication system. Everybody's gone to digital, and we're not on digital.
Oh, okay.
So it's gonna upgrade it to the digital system where the communication is clearer and you don't have the malfunctions that you had. But it's definitely safer to have a 2-way radio than to communicate by
Yes,
cell phone.
definitely.
Yeah, because then you all can hear each other as opposed to on the phone, it's just one on one.
Right, exactly. That's the other thing. Yeah. So you can have mutual conversations between all of us and quick connection. I think that's about it. All I have. Any other questions, concerns?
I have a question.
Sure.
When I'm out meeting neighbors, some of the themes that I'm hearing throughout the district is that certain areas are being used as racetracks. And how is it that we determine where we put our speed traps? I know that, what's that process look like?
So the way we usually do it is we get feedback from the community. a lot of times to move it into those locations. We know some of the areas that are, are busy, we'll
Right.
put the trap out there, but for the most part, we get a lot of feedback from counselors, from community meetings, stuff like that, and then we deploy that. If you have a certain location that you want it to go to, you can get a hold of myself or the mayor's office, the chief's office, Tom Cuddy, and we'll get it to the location that you want it. But what we usually do is we get the feedback from the people, we get it out there, and then we follow it up with some enforcement, which usually works.
One of the places happens to just be here, so I know that we have some speed bumps
Okay.
that are put in for the
Speed bumps or
speed.
boards? There's two things, we have
No,
speed
but on
boards
the
and
ground.
speed bumps, okay.
Yeah, so.
So those are the speed bumps.
Yeah, so I know there's some speed bumps that were put in here
Mhm.
to mitigate some of that. But it seems as if, I know that I'm working with the DPW department
Yeah,
to add some new lining and to create some visual aids, especially when you have a broad strip like High Street or right here like Howard Street. It just kind of seems like a free-for-all, you don't
Right.
even choose
so
a side.
the speed bumps are a little different than the speed boards. We can't deploy them, we have to have the DPW because they gotta be
Right.
nailed down. But you also have to do additional signage to warn people that they're
Right.
down because of, obviously, do some damage to your car if they're not warned.
Right.
But we can get those deployed too. They're just not as easy as the speed board is. I think we have 3 speed boards now that we can kind of bring around to different locations
Yeah.
that
I
kind of
have one
warn
in my
people.
district now because where the fire was, what was just being spoken about earlier on Wellesley and Mann, they seem to, I was there and the Methuen police, I've contacted them and talked with them just by happenstance because that's where on the border of the East District of Methuen.
Yep.
And they've been willing to help out in that area. And then for ourselves, we have a board now on there for a little while because for some reason that Wellesley Street seems, well, Wellesley through Williams. So what
Yeah.
happens is what they're doing is to avoid the lights or avoid Merrimack Street in the backup. They're cutting, they'll go over one more and Swan Avenue turns into Wellesley and then Wellesley turns down into Williams, and so that's how you're able
Get around that.
to get around that. Pretty
Yeah,
sad.
we'll do some enforcement up there too. I'll write that down now. And
Yeah,
we'll
just some
definitely get
enforcement
enforcement.
and right over here, there seems to be an issue with motorbikes.
Yeah.
I guess that's the best way to say it, with motorbikes and kind of zooming through and I know we can't do anything. I know weed is legal now as far as people out there, and that seems to be the topping the list with people complaining about, well, okay, I understand that, but I have kids playing outside, or people, it's coming in my window, or, so I don't know.
Weed is legal, but
Right.
it's illegal to smoke it in public.
Okay,
So it's similar to drinking in public.
okay,
So if they're in a public place, feel free to contact the Lawrence Police Department. We'll be happy to go up there and do some enforcement. It is arrestable, just like drinking in public is,
okay.
but we do try to use a little discretion and, little warnings and, education. There's a lot of people under the premise that it's legal
free for all now.
and you can smoke it, but it's not. And you're fine to do that in the privacy or the confines of your own home, but the city of Lawrence does have a public smoking, just like a public drinking, which is, is arrestable. And you can also be summoned in for it, so.
Any kind of smoking?
No, just,
Well, a lot of places you can't smoke in public places.
correct.
But we don't have that.
No, we do have an ordinance that addresses specifically smoking of weed.
Yeah, okay.
That way there, because you go to the 4th of July, and that was a prime example, 4th of July, at the stadium, we had a lot of people that were smoking weed. We didn't make any arrests, but, we
Just let
educated
them know.
people. Yeah.
Yeah, that ordinance was approved by the city council at state request of the chief.
That was maybe last year, it wasn't this year, I think it was last year, last summer maybe.
No, it was, I think it was this year.
Was it?
Yeah, it was this year at the
Okay.
beginning. Were you present at the time? You were there at
The
the time.
park, you mean, the one about, there's no smoking weed in the park?
Yeah.
Public
No
places.
smoking in
Yeah.
public places.
I forget when it was, but anyways,
It
it's
may have
definitely
been,
was
yeah,
approved
but
by the
it's-
city
it's not too
council.
long ago.
Yeah, and it is on the book, so.
Yeah.
That can be addressed. So if you have locations that you want us to check or that are a problem that you're getting, please get it to us and we'll take a look at it.
There's one particular location that every night, and that is the reservoir.
Yeah, we can take a look at that.
That's a favorite place for youngsters to go on small pot.
I ran into something last week that I had never seen before, 2 motorcycles. But they weren't motorcycles, they were bikes. I didn't see any plates on them. And they were obviously sharing a hookah as they were driving up North Street.
That's coordination.
We
Oh,
do,
no, at the stoplights, every time they stopped,
Oh,
he'd take his inhale, and he'd inhale, pass it over to the guy in the bike next to him. And then he'd turn around and just blow the smoke, and it was like, really?
we do have a problem with a lot of the scooters. Scooters are definitely a problem in the city with,
But they don't have plates, I couldn't see.
some are
plates on
registered,
these.
well, it's one of those catch things. If it's under 30 cc's, they don't have to be registered. It's small, but those actually go 30, 40 miles an hour. And as many of you would see, when they're driving around the city, nobody obeys
Yeah.
the rules of the road. So unfortunately, when we try to do some enforcement on that, they take off on us. And the chase is kind of, we don't do chasing of those because it's dangerous. So.
Right.
And every time we try to light it, try to pull them over, normally they're not licensed, they're not registered. That's an additional ordinance that we probably have to look at in the future because it's kind of out of hand. You'll see them, they're driving the sidewalk and everything they're not supposed to do, they're doing. Yeah, unfortunately. So that's something that in the future we definitely need to look at.
Yeah, because that seems to be the top complaint through here.
It's really throughout the whole city. Once the warm weather comes, it's
And
craziness.
since you don't need a license or whatever, it's kids, and kids don't obey the rules
Right.
of the road, they probably don't know it, or if they do, they just think that they have a motorized bike. Like, wow, my bike goes faster than yours.
And they don't wear helmets. A lot of you watch a lot of them. They don't not wearing helmets. They're not wearing eye goggles. And again, a lot of them are unlicensed. So it's definitely something that we need to look at. It's something that we have to address, probably with the registry as well, to kind of change some of the behavior. But we could address it with ordinances.
But right now, there's nothing, like, it's not worth asking someone to spend the time to come out and look at it, that's what we want.
We'll try to come out and look at it. Give us a call. I'm not telling you to do that, but.
They were driving
Yeah.
up the street.
But yeah, definitely inform us, because I mean, if we can pull them over, we like to pull them over. But our experience with them is a lot of times they're taking off, especially when they're in groups, they'll take off.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you see anything like that, any reckless operation, please
Yeah.
call the Lawrence Police Department. We'll be happy to send a
They
car.
saw them down with big and beefy, like 6 of them
Yeah.
spread out right in the parking lot.
And then they'll ride in groups, and like I said, they don't obey
Okay.
the law. So, but yeah, definitely give us a call. We can check it out. Any other questions, concerns? Okay, I'll be here to the end of the meeting.
The speed board, how about at some point putting it at the bottom and the Thornton, because you know how
Yeah, we can do that.
that's,
We can
people
do
come
that.
down that hill like,
Yeah, we can move it wherever you want it. Yeah, we can definitely do that. I'll write a little note to myself, and I'll have Tommy move it over.
It's on Man
it's on
now.
Man, it's on, by Bernie's
Yeah,
house.
but we
Man
can,
at West.
yeah, we can move that down. Another week or so, we'll move it down the bottom, just move it around a little bit.
And do you know anything about the stolen car that was burned there by Bernie's
No.
house?
Oh, we don't know if it's stolen. Do we know if it's stolen? You guys
Well,
are trying to
do you-
drag my numbers up. I had a good month. It might have been just on fire. You don't know if it's stolen yet.
Okay, the car that was on fire,
You
regardless.
can, I'll find out
New
about
Hampshire
it.
plates.
It had New Hampshire
That
plates?
was
Oh,
Bob.
well, man, good, that's good.
It's
Yeah.
It wasn't stolen from Lawrence then.
No, it was New Hampshire, right.
No, I'll find out for you. I can look into that, no problem. See if it was stolen or what's going on. When did that occur?
A couple of weeks.
Not last weekend, the weekend before, is that right?
Okay.
Were you there at it? Or you said
I have
you
a
know about it?
video. Well, I have a video, and then
So is it Wesley and Man?
it's right on the corner.
Okay.
From what Bob told me, it was Man at Wesley, right
Okay.
at Bernie's corner.
I can find out about it, see if it was
5 or 6 o'clock in the
stolen.
morning.
Seemed weird.
It was like, it was like 4, it was actually 4.
And like the deputy said, it could have been somebody pulling an insurance job too. Who
Mhm.
knows? I mean, we've seen those before. So, yeah, I'll definitely look into it. We'll get you an answer. Is that it? All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Nice.
All right, well, we have A lot of special guests here tonight. Where to begin? I guess, should we do first come, first serve, or order of significance? Well, you were here first, I believe, right?
No, start the lower position to upper position.
Lower position to upper position?
I think so.
I think first come, first serve. Mama's here first.
You can leave
Rich
it for
is
last.
second.
No, really.
I was third.
I'm third.
I would be very happy to be last.
Save the good for last.
All right, first come, first serve
There
then.
you go, come on, it is.
All right. Hello, everybody. My name is Kemal Bozkurt, and I am running for school committee again. And I'm going to tell 3 things, not 4. Who I am, what I have done for this city, and why I am running for school committee. I have been living in this city for 19 years. 7 years in South Lawrence and 12 years here in with your neighborhood. I have a lovely wife who graduated from Lawrence High School. She was born in Rochester, New York. And then I have 3 children, and currently I have 10 cats. So my cat just gave delivered last week, but I'm working on them. So I have been working at the Lawrence Public Library for 18 years, and I have a master's degree about banking and insurance, and I am almost completing my 2nd master's degree about library science. And I have speaking 3.5 languages. I haven't finished my Spanish yet. Hopefully next coming 2 years I'll be fluent. So that's I am, Kemal Bozkurt. What I have done for my great city of Lawrence. First of all, I came from Turkey directly here, and I never ever wanted to move to another city. I really love this city. The main reason I love this city, it's diverse. Yes, dominant are Latinos and specifically Dominicans, fine for me, but there are still many different diverse communities. That's the main reason I really like this city. As I mentioned you, I have been working at the library for 18 years, and especially when I was an acting director in 14 months, I have done many things. I don't want to take other candidates' time, I respect your times also, but I just want to mention for the record couple things. I mean, is there any directors, any department head, I respect all the department heads because working for the city is not an easy job. For that reason, everybody might do their routine jobs, but there are some things when you have done, you'll be proud of yourself and proud of your institute, and when you have done unusual things. For example, if you might know, even we live in here, North Lawrence, South Lawrence Branch Library was closed for almost a decade. So when I was the acting director, I was able to open after almost 10 years later. And unfortunately, before, whenever budget issue comes to the city council's meeting, there were always some councillors, they were saying, why don't we close the South Lawrence Branch Library? Because they didn't know how much it costs. So anyway, I don't want to take your time more. I was able to open South Lawrence Branch Library. My another great accomplishment, we were the first library in Merrimack Valley. I was able to find $10,000 grant for hotspots. Again, I'm repeating one more time. We are the first library, $10,000 grant for 10 hotspots. Okay? And then now after 1 year, other libraries following us, getting 1 or 2 hotspots for checked out. Other thing is, I was able to get also a telescope. Our students are benefiting. Other things, when I was attending the ESOL test form, I learned there are 5,000 immigrants waiting for ESL class. When I learned this one, I said to myself, you know what, if I am the acting director, I must find another grant for ESL class at the library. So I was lucky and I found another grant, and then we had 1 year ESL class at the library. Is it enough? Of course it's not enough, but at least I was able to get one grant and we were able to have that ESL class. Other thing is, you know, I have been visited almost every schools, almost every neighborhood meetings, and then almost every other non-profit organization explain to our library what we have. We have many databases, right? But unfortunately, 80,000 citizens, how many of them they know? I need to give huge credit. Mr. Ross, he recorded me 30 minutes. If any of you haven't watched that movie, not the movie, YouTube movie, 30 minutes, it's about our databases and online programs. It's in YouTube. Thank you again, Mr. Ross, for recording me. So at least we are showing our citizens what we have in our library. And I was the first director also. All other area directors congratulate me, very experienced director. They said, we couldn't think about to make YouTube video about library. Congratulations, sir. I said, thank you very much. So there are many other things, but there are 4 other candidates. I was also 12 years proudly served, I'm sure many of you remember, as a zoning board member. 12 years I served as a zoning board member. My first 6 years were associate member, which means you don't have to go to meeting. But I was still going. Why? If full member, one of them, didn't show up, many times I saved the quorum because I love this city. If I didn't go, meeting were canceling. So 12 years I served. Last 4 years I'm not a member. And then beside that, I really like to have every nationality's flag raising. I attend myself, and last year also, as my origin country, Turkey, I was able to have first time at the history of Florence, city of Florence, raising the Turkish flag, continuously, hopefully it will continue until doomsday. All of the other nations I try to attend. I really enjoy the diversity. And lastly, last 17 years, thanks to my dear former assistant director Sharon Doyle, because of her, I was able to also attend at the Bread and Roses Festival as a vendor, representing Middle Eastern food. I really like Bread and Roses Festival, like other festivals, but Bread and Roses Festival is my favorite festival. So last 17 years, Turkish dynasty, Middle Eastern food dynasty continued. I couldn't go, then I told my sister-in-law, you must continue this one, and this dynasty should continue forever. So I have done many other things for the city, but these are the major things I would like to share with you. Now, why I am running for school committee, again, this is my 4th time, okay? First of all, at the library, last 18 years, believe it or not, I gave a tour over 10,000 students. I am repeating again, because I have a record. Over 10,000 students, I gave them a tour. I could finish in 15 minutes, but I like to give them extra information. And I always ask these 2 famous questions to the students. I ask them, can you please tell me, how many states do we have in America, including Hawaii and Alaska? 51 or 52? That's what I'm asking. Nobody says 50. Believe it or not. Maybe 1%. Believe it or not, I have a record. My second question was last 8 years, can you please tell me who is our vice president? Poor Joe Biden. Nobody knows him. Yes, public schools last 6 years, we are saying improving. Yes, in the test-wise improving. But how about our students? I want them to know who we are, where do we live, who is our neighbors, who is our president, who is our governor, who is our mayor, who is our city councilors, who is our school committees, who we are. Is there only city of Florence, only Massachusetts, only America in this world? I want them to learn extra activities. My second reason is, I'm also running, I was kind of police officer, sir. You don't know me very, very well. I was a police officer at the library, believe it or not. Didn't get paid extra. The reason, when I see the students, during the school time, our trustees made a decision. Students cannot come to the library during the school time. Any of my colleagues, they were afraid to ask them, why you are here? I said, excuse me, why you are here? I am sick. Really? If you are sick, you need to go home. I have an appointment. Really? Why you are here? Go back. Your appointment. Many kids, they were not going to school. Maria, my former school committee woman. There are many other reasons. So I want every student, I want them, all of them to go to school. I want all of them to get extracurricular activities, good kid, and back to community, do best things. These are the main reasons. These are the reasons I'm running for school committee, and I am sure everybody is going to vote for me in this room, and thank you very much. We'll see you hopefully at the final.
All right, and who was next?
Rich.
Oh,
He
all
was
right.
already here when I came.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Rich.
Good evening. As many of you may know, my name is Rich Rodriguez. First, I'd like to discuss my education background. I graduated from Mass School of Law, so I received my JD degree. I'm also admitted to practice law in Massachusetts. It was a very difficult test, but I did pass it. I do practice law in Lawrence, so I live and work in Lawrence. I represent many clients in Lawrence. I also received a bachelor degree in criminal justice from John Jay College of Criminal Justice. I also obtained different type of degree, like I was one of the 12 people across the United States to be selected to a competitive fellowship called the Cole Foundation in Public Policy. What that was an institution where 12 people get selected each year, over 300 candidates. We get assigned monthly to different agencies. We get assigned to non-profit organization, we get assigned to government agency, we get assigned to labor unit, and many different agencies. The purpose of that was to study a particular agency and focus what is working and what's not working, and give recommendations how to improve that agency. So that was I received a public policy fellowship in that. I also graduated from the United States Army. I went to Fort Benning Infantry School. I graduated in the top of my class. Another success story. Top. In Massachusetts, I was one of the few who was selected by Senator Tucker to participate in the Massachusetts Senate Certificate Citizen Legislative Seminar. What that was, I went to Boston and we learned everything about the state government, how a budget is created, what's the function of the Senate, what's the function of the governor, all that. Also, while in Lawrence, I was one of the few who graduated from the Lawrence Police Department Citizen Academy. That was a 12-week training. We learned about police process, arrest process. We learned about the different type of laws. And we learned how the Lawrence Police Department function, how they're broken apart, what's contact, and so forth. So that's my education experience. Now I would like to talk about my professional experience. As I indicate, I'm practicing the law, so I'm the sole owner of the law office of Richard Rodriguez. So I live and work in Lawrence. Before that, I worked for the state. I worked for the Massachusetts Department of Unemployment as an adjudicator. The purpose of an adjudicator was to determine when someone applied for benefits, whether that person qualified for benefits. If not, why he does not qualify. So I was responsible to do the fact finding and make a determination. So my responsibility was gather the facts, make a determination whether this person qualified or not. What was important, I work in the Lawrence office, so I have a strong connection working in Lawrence. I was also the program director of a grant from the United States Department of Justice. I worked in that position as a program director for 4 years, where I worked under the police department. I was appointed by Mayor Sullivan, and I report directly to the chief of police. My function was, each year I was responsible to write a grant of over $250,000. I needed to draft a grant, a budget, and how the money be used. I also was responsible when the money was allocated to a particular agency, which could be for youth program, overtime for community policing, drug prevention. So I worked with many different organizations and nonprofit in Lawrence. And like I said, I worked inside the police department. And my other work experience was I was a paralegal for 5 years for the Legal Aid Society. I worked inside the prison system, helping the youth. They are inside the jail. My job was to determine what type of services they need when they go out, when they go back home. Whether they need drug treatment, whether they need housing. That was my job. When they went in, my job was to help them to get out. I worked for a organization which is nationwide called Covenant House, New York, but they have offices in Washington D.C., New Jersey, I think California, all over. I was a community worker. I was in charge of the job readiness program. I was responsible to create that particular program in Covenant House. There was no job readiness program, so I did everything. I developed the plan, I did the implementation, I invited people to different sessions, I helped people with resumes, I helped them get jobs. The purpose of that particular position was to get kids out of trouble and help them to stay in school or help them to get jobs. So that's that Covenant House. Now, I also have, I want to talk about my community service, government community services. So I spoke about my education, professional experience. Now I'm going to talk about my government service. Governor Baker appointed me last year as an advisory board member to the Massachusetts Commission Against Discrimination. I was one of the 3 in Lawrence that was appointed to a different agency. There's many boards, but I was one of the 3 citywide, which I was very happy and pleased that the governor recognized the work I have been doing as the chairperson of the Lawrence Commission on Disability. Mayor Dan Rivera recommended me to become a commissioner. I have been a commissioner with the commission in Lawrence for 3 years, and the commissioner elected me as the chairperson. I have served as the chairperson for the last 2 years. Also, in New York City, I served 10 years as an auxiliary police with the New York City Police Department. I went to a police academy similar to the police department with the SSI. We learned about arrest people, how to handcuff them, how to CPR, all that. And our function was to observe and to report. So I worked closely with the police department and obtained knowledge about law enforcement and police proceeding. I served 9 years with the Army National Guard. I received 3 discharge from the Army National Guard. My first discharge, I received, I relaxed, and then the first Gulf War began. I re-enlisted during the first Gulf War. I didn't see no action, but I re-enlisted like many other people did. So while in the Army National Guard, I was one of the few in my company to be recommended to go to officer candidate school, which is very difficult to be appointed. I went to officer candidate school, but I was injured while line duty. So I never had the chance to become a second lieutenant because I was involved in a line of duty injury. It was a 3-car accident, so I was injured. But still, I was proud to be asked and to be appointed as an officer candidate. I just like to say my work experience, my education, and my government experience. As you see, I have experience in city government, have experience in state government, have experience in federal government. Indirectly, when I worked for the police department, that was a grant from the United States Department of Justice. So I work with many different types of federal agencies, city agencies. So now I'm running for city council. This is the first time running. But I have served in many, as I stated, I have served in many different capacities. And I would like to stress, in all those capacities, I do not get paid. I do that for the benefit of society. Chairperson of the Laws Commission, I put a lot of hours to it, involved in making law. I don't get paid for it. Massachusetts Commission Against Discrimination, I put many hours, go to Boston to meeting. I don't get paid for it. 2 years, every 2 years, I do a case for Merrimack Valley Legal Services. I represent people in Lawrence who's not able to pay for a lawyer. I do that. So you know, based on my education, work experience, and government services, you know, I appreciate on September 26th that you vote for me. But I got to add my family background. I'm married to City Councilor Alvarez, Nika Alvarez, who has been in City Council for 14 years. I like to stress there's only one Rodriguez running this year, not 2. Some people say that my wife was running, I was running. That's not true, only one Rodriguez. And that would be me. She's retiring this year to take care of some issues.
There's another Rodriguez, what, Joanne?
Yeah, but another district. Yeah. But the difference between him and my wife is also Dr. Rodriguez. I'm a Dr. Rodriguez too. So that's what I tell people when they get confused. So, you know, I'm married. I have 2 children. My 2 children attended the Lawrence Public School System. My oldest son graduated with honor. He got a scholarship to go to college. I live in Hoffman Avenue for over 10 years. So, you know, up to date with my property taxes and my water bills, all the good stuff they look at. I'd like to thank you for inviting me and for allowing me to speak. And have a good day. And I hope I get to vote.
All right.
That's fine. Hi, I was not prepared to speak as a candidate, but I am running for re-election. And I'm first going to say I'm your city councilor for our district, my Ortiz. And I'm here to actually just keep you guys up to date on what's happening in the district. I didn't intend to be a candidate for him. I didn't know that we were going to do this, so that's totally fine with me. But are there any concerns that you guys want to bring up with me while I'm here? I know that I field a lot of your phone calls or a lot of your emails, and it's just good to be able to have a free evening to be able to line up. And I'm glad that I'm on the email list now. I wasn't on the email list. It only took a year for me to get on that to make sure when we were meeting. So are there any concerns that you guys want to bring up to me this evening? I know that there were some things that already been covered with the police and the fire, or anything else that you want to follow up with. I think, I know that we had a little bit of a robust conversation before the meeting started about what happened at the city council meeting last night. Yeah, that was good stuff. But if there are no questions now, most people know how to get a hold of me on my telephone and or through email or through Ray. Ray, is kind of in charge of me. And so, and Ann's in charge of Ray, so then we're all good. So it goes up the chain of command. But my name is Myra Ortiz. I am running for re-election. I know that there was a question. If I was, I've been serving as your, I would say, appointed city councilor. We had a special situation happen last August, and I took some time, deliberated with my family, deliberated with my friends, and after a few days, I answered the call to willing to serve. And since then, I've been serving with integrity, fairness. I've been a reliable city councilor and your voice on the council. My colleagues and I have a great working relationship, and I believe collaboration is what's needed in city government, and that's what I bring. So thank you so much. September 26th, I ask for your vote to continue serving.
I'm not sure if this is the right form to bring this up, but I just
I'm
thought
here.
of it. You know the nice cute houses on Josephine Ave? And all the extra cars that are on the street now that you can't even drive by?
So actually, Josephine Ave is on the agenda for 4 or 5 different things that we're doing to mitigate what's happening on there. The homeowners have concerns, and we're addressing those concerns with what's happening. I've proposed, and that's all dependent on the ordinance committee and in collaboration with the police department and DPW, that my suggestions go in. I've been meeting with the homeowners. We've actually had a community meeting of all the owners on Josephine, got together with in somebody's backyard, and they collaborated and said, okay, what would mitigate the problem that we're having here? And one of the things is making it a one-way street. That curve is dangerous when they come around, and with those 2 houses being right there on the curve, also making it one side of the street parking.
That's what I'd like to see.
So that's also been proposed. Working with DPW and the police department to decide if we're going to just do resident-only parking, because there were no residents there before, and now there is residents on that street, and the complex has parking. So they should be parking in their parking spots.
Well, and all the new houses all have driveways, but then all of a sudden there's a whole ton of cars all over the place. Even in the summer, I can't imagine if a fire truck had to get through in the summer or in the winter.
So the cars on each home, no one has more than two cars. So we've discussed that. The problem is that because the street is about 20 feet, we've measured it. I've really spent time with the residents.
Yeah, it's a narrow street.
So it's 20 feet. And maybe a little inch, a foot or 2 more, but 20 feet. And if each car is 5 feet, so now we have 15, and the angle in which people have to reverse or go in, they're not able to get out of their driveways because there are cars that are parked not in front of, but directly across from there. But that's going to have to be for robust. I didn't put that one on the agenda because we need to work through that. I think there's one more thing I suggested on Josephine, but I can't remember it right now. So I am in communication with all the residents that are there, and we are taking into consideration the traffic, and we're looking forward also to the winter and what we're going to do if we're going to put a parking ban or alternate side of the street, or depending on what's there, because there was no residents there,
Right.
and now we have 8 homes.
Right.
And every one of them has children.
Right.
Except for one nurse, I think. I think they're planning to have kids. So it's like except for one nurse. So as you can see, I get pretty into detail with the residents in my district, and I have a pulse and a finger on what's happening everywhere.
Have them come to meetings.
Definitely.
The more the merrier.
Anything else? Yeah, Josephine Ave, an issue. Any other concerns? Stoplights, speed bumps? All right, thank you so much for your time.
And
I'm gonna give it to you. Very good.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Ana Levy, and I'm running for the first time for council at large in the city of Lawrence. I just came to the meeting tonight, and practically I was not ready with all of the speech regarding everything, but I can remember everything that's been done in here. My education, I'm an architect. I had a couple of associates from Northern Eastern Community College, business management, office management, office skill. I'm also very well prepared for many housing programs, home program, tax credits, and such a lot of programs that right now we have Section A and RBP. So all of those programs, I've been working as a property manager for more than 20 years. One of my jobs in here, or I can say maybe my second job, I was the liaison between the Lawrence Fire Department, the police departments, and the city of Lawrence. I worked very hard during the time when we had so many fires in the city of Lawrence. Practically more than 900 fires a year in here. So I worked with the program for more than 6 or 7 years. I created the Young Entrepreneur Children, the junior firefighters. There's so many programs that I work for with the youth, with the children in here under the program that I was the community liaison from the city, or the access manager between the city and the fire and the police department. I have to attend every single fire, night, day, morning, doesn't matter the time. Sometimes I just leave at 1 o'clock in the morning from one fire, and 10 or 15 minutes later, they were calling me for another fire. I used to go to all the schools that we have in the city of Lawrence, also with the fire department. I don't know if you also, or you remember the Chief Schaefer. And with him, we created many programs, and we used to go and train the children so that the children also can teach the parents on how to be safe in a fire. When I finished the programs, I can tell you that it was only 64 fires that year in the city. I traveled to FEMA because they want to see how I was able to reduce the fire through all the programs that I was doing at that time in Virginia. Also, I was invited by the Academy of the Firefighters here, also a couple of times, and I went for a couple of trainings. So it's not like I invent everything. Everything is right in there. The tools are there, but we have to know how to use those and help the city. I continue working here in the city as in so many different volunteer programs as a member of Semana Hispana, Noche Dominicana, and so many other boards. The Family Health Center, believe me or not, I just worked for more than 6 or 7 years as a member of the Family Health Center board. In the clinic on Haverhill Street, I had to travel to Washington a couple of times. I was the president when we got the money. I was the president of the board when we got the money to start the clinics that we had, the Family Health Center. Also, we were able to get so many other clinics around the city. For the last 20 years, I'm working as property manager, housing tax credit, helping people to get housing. But besides also I'm being involved in so many other programs, I was part of a youth program that also was called the Junior Firefighter. I worked with Mr. Maldonado in so many other programs, family program, and we created so many things, education, and through all of the city of Lawrence. But one thing that made me to get in here today and run for city council is because all the problems that we have in the city. Practically I can say, well, for me it was much better to be sitting in my house, taking care of my grandchildren, playing with them, travel with my husband. I'm married for 38 years. I have 3 children, 6 grandchildren. And there are so many things that we have to do, but we have to work together. The city of Lawrence is having a lot of problems. The crime has increased, violence has increased, drug has increased, and so many things has to be done in the city. But I think that the only way that we can solve most of this problem is working together. We have a path, I don't know, but between the city council and the mayor, we need to get together and work for all of you or from all of us in the same way. We need to work for the city, because this city is a beautiful city. And see, we are here is because we love the city. I came here 35 years ago, and since that time, I had never ever been sitting in a chair in my house, just taking some free, just only thinking on how we're gonna do something for the city. My children grow here. They are all professionals. I feel so happy of my family, and that is why I'm running for city council. Because I want you, every one of you that is sitting here, and every one of you that is outside, also to feel happy. But I want you to feel secure on the city that you live in. So many things in the city, beautiful city, and believe me or not, I care right now. I feel so scared right now to walk just only by myself in the way that I did it before. Do you feel safety right now? Do you feel safety in the city right now? Mm-hmm. I don't think so. Nobody feels safe in the city. And we need to work together. We have many problems. We are not the problem, but we can get solution to the problem. We work together, and we bring all of the resources, and we have so many resources right now that can help us to make city a better city to live in. Thank you.
All right, now we have literally just only about 10 more minutes.
I would take less than that.
All right.
It's a pleasure being here. Briefly, I grew up in Brooklyn, New York, got educated there, went to college there, then I came to Massachusetts, the wonderful city of Lawrence, and I went to college here and I did a master in education. I worked at the Greater Lawrence Technical School as the assistant superintendent for 21 years. So I was able to help so many students, thousands of students, achieve their dreams in education. I'm not going to talk a lot about myself, but more about the fact that what the city needs. As an architect, which I'm also an architect because that's what I studied in New York, I understand the complexity of the infrastructure that we have in the city, the problems that our buildings, which we are responsible for, the school buildings, what the problems are and how we can fix them. As an educator, I understand the problems that we are facing in the educational system and how we can fix them. Believe it or not, we are ready to take our school system back. We are ready, okay, because the job has been done. All we have to do is learn from the past and make sure that what was done now to improve the system, that we continue doing that. As a city councilor, I have been involved in so many things, and I had the pleasure of working with Mayra in two items that are very important to our city. One was approving the zoning to prohibit any establishments, stores to sell marijuana. We approved that. Okay, that's very important. But more than that, on October the 3rd, we are meeting again to approve another ordinance to exclude ourselves from the Massachusetts marijuana law, which means that nobody will be able ever, for as long as we desire, nobody will be able to sell marijuana in the city of Lawrence. By the request of the chief of police, we also approve an ordinance that prohibit the use of marijuana in public places. So all we have to do is enforce it. There's a lot of beautiful things that are happening in our city, but there are far more. And what we need is people with vision to accomplish those things for our city, to serve our citizens the way that we are supposed to. Let me do something. I am grateful as a citizen. I am grateful to Richard. I am grateful to Maida. I am grateful to Anna because they are running for office. I don't think some of you realize the amount of work that it takes. What it takes for us to get to know you and get the message across of what we are trying to do. And that is so important. So I really hope that when you go to the ballot, consider the tremendous effort that these candidates are doing in order to serve you. So that's very important. Again, I strongly believe that we can make a difference in our city, and if we work together with the police department, that if we engage our citizens, we are definitely going to make a big difference. We are going to get rid of the crime, we are going to get rid of the drugs, we are going to clean our cities, because when government works with the residents of our city, we are going to make a big difference. So thank you. I'm going to leave you a brochure so that you can read more peacefully at home, okay? That way you can always call me if you have any questions. And I'm going to give one to Richard because he knows more about me than I know about myself, right, Richard?
Me too.
No, not you. But again, I thank you for being part of this neighborhood association, because let me tell you something. A neighborhood association is what makes a difference in a neighborhood.
Yes.
And I wish that more of you could take part in this association. You need to increase the membership, because by increasing the membership is going to make a big difference. Okay, try to reach out to as many people as you can, so that your membership can increase. Because I know that as your membership increases, you're going to have more eyes, more ears that are going to be able to know what is going on in your neighborhood. And the police will know that because of you, because of your cooperation with the police department. So again, thank you for being part of this association, and thank you for making a difference in the neighborhood. Thank you.
All right, to wrap up, our next meeting is our annual meeting of the election of officers. That meeting is going to be October 18th here in Rollins School at 6:30. Select the nominating committee.
Draft one, the one we heard.
Same one from last year?
Unless somebody else wants to volunteer.
Or unless there's any objection? Oh no, because if they object, then we're... Okay, so yeah, we'll draft the same committee as we had last year, unless anybody else wants to.
Thanks.
Only with me.
All right, and so what the, oh yeah, so the election's next month?
Yep.
Okay.
I make a motion, we adjourn.
All right, well then, hopefully see you all here October 18th. Thanks.
Good.